Yes, what's good, y'all? In this video I'm talking about Obsidian's next Fallout game. Obviously it was announced a few weeks ago and I just want to go over the facts, everything we know so far, and then also give some of my thoughts on what I think Obsidian should look to do in order to make this a hit. Let's begin. The first thing that's important to mention is that Bethesda will be more involved in this project than they were in New Vegas, where they basically handed it over to Obsidian and only really stepped in to ask them to remove certain lines. This time around, Bethesda will actually be working alongside Obsidian, with Josh Sawyer leading the project. Yeah, the same man who led New Vegas, you'll be happy to hear. We don't yet know the setting that this game will take place, however, New Orleans seems like a sensible guess, not only because fans are begging for it, but also Chris Avellone was excited to talk about the location and seem interested in the idea of making that game.
Yeah, I always wanted to see New Orleans. I feel like New Orleans would be an amazing spot.
Oh yeah, holy shit! Yeah. So one of the designers / producers on one of our other projects suggested New Orleans location, and I was so stoked for that because it's gonna be a weird reference, but there is an old comic franchise that was started by this author / artist Matt Wagner called Grendel. And a lot of the Grendel stories are very post-apocalyptic. And there was one that was written in New Orleans. It was called like Four Devils, One Hell. And it's a fantastic story. But as soon as I read it, which while I was doing Fallout research, ironically enough, I'm like, man, this makes me want to do a Fallout New Orleans so bad. Because like the vibe was so cool, the flavor was so cool, and like it is still Fallout, but it was in a different area that felt different. Yeah, there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, same. Because like what you're saying, the place already has so much amazing background lore and culture, and then if you put some retrofuturism on that, nuke it to hell.
Yeah.
Oh
hell
man,
yeah.
oh, it would have been good.
So sweet.
That's what I was always like, man, if they ever do another spin-off, like New Orleans is But
with Bethesda confirming again that they are working on a Fallout 5, this obviously means that this Obsidian game is highly unlikely to be a numbered entry. So I'd assume it will be a side game, a spin-off, whatever you want to call it, you know, your New Vegas, your Fallout 76, that kind of deal. Still very important to the world and the lore, just not a numbered entry. We do know that this game will be using from an Obsidian game already in development. Supposedly they had a Fallout style game in the works and they'll be reworking that into this new Fallout game, which could be a good thing because that will fast track a lot of the development time, meaning this game could come out a lot faster than it would usually take. And to me it's interesting that Obsidian was already working on that style of game. I'd love to know what that were meant to be and if they'll come back to that idea again in the future. Now in terms of a release date, my guess is that the Fallout 3 remake will be released next year. I think it'll get announced on the Fallout Day stream and drop soon after for Fallout's 30th anniversary. That just makes total sense. Then we might get the New Vegas remake a couple years later, so what, you know, 2028, 2029ish. Then it comes down to which drops first, Fallout 5 or this Obsidian Fallout game. And with Bethesda pretty much occupied with the Elder Scrolls 6, I'd assume this Obsidian game drops first, so what, you know, 2030, 2031 around there. Fuck, we ain't getting Fallout 5 for a long ass time if that's the case. And now we gotta talk the Outer Worlds. Unfortunately, yeah, I wasn't a fan. And I really hope this is not going to be another game with that style of writing and I guess social commentary, if that's what you can call it, you know. In their minds, Outer Worlds is so similar to New Vegas when it comes down to the writing and cleverness, but it ain't. If they want to make an Outer Worlds 3 afterwards or some other crap and get all that nonsense out there in that game, go for it, be my guest, but my god, leave Fallout alone. But all that being said, they did say that New Vegas was a big inspiration for the Outer Worlds too, you know, meaning that Obsidian obviously still deeply cares about Fallout, or at least the OG Fallout and New Vegas. Just watch any interview with Chris Avellone or Josh Sawyer, and it's obvious how much they love them games, how excited they got when discussing it and whatnot.
I went back to Fallout 1 and I was like, I love the structure of Fallout 1. I love that the critical path is basically 3 points. That structure with Benny, where I was like, you can go to the tops whenever you want.
Let's talk physical releases. Oh yeah, we probably won't fucking get one. I'm having an entire video on this exact topic, so don't let me spend too much time here. But it's true, Bethesda have been one of the worst culprits of not giving us proper physical releases. Games promise to have physical releases only to be a massive lie and only have like 40% of it on the disc. Oblivion remake. Games not released physically at all, like that Fallout 4 re-release for the Switch, massive wasted opportunity there, and the fact they never bothered re-releasing 76 but with all the updates and patches pre-installed. I've had that idea for a few years, it would be sick for us collectors, won't ever happen though. So no, I don't think the next batch of Fallout games will receive physical copies, especially with the recent Sony news. It sucks, I hate it, there's also not a lot we can do to prevent it, other than total boycotting, which none of you cowards have a willingness for, so forget it. What platforms will this game be released on? Or I suppose a better way to put it, will it be an Xbox exclusive? I think probably, especially with the new Xbox CEO, and it seems like she's the main reason we're even hearing about any of these games in production in the first place. Obviously, since taking over, we've seen Xbox reclaim Gears of War as an exclusive. I don't know if the same will happen with the Halo's future too, but I can definitely see the future Bethesda games being Xbox exclusives, which sucks for me but makes complete sense for Xbox. Remember, without the new CEO doing all this effort, Xbox may have been done for, so she's going to do all she can to get them sales. We shall see. Now, I just want to add real quick and completely off topic, but if I was in Obsidian's shoes, if I was to make the next Fallout game, I would be cramming it with so much references to Fallout 1 and 2, and I guess New Vegas, just so it's sort of for the TV show to come along and fuck more lore up, you know. I'd be having dialogue about stuff that happened in them games, a few returning characters perhaps, you know, whatever it is, just to make sure that the lore is fresh in people's minds before the show can change shit. Obviously Season 3 probably be out before then, but if they make Season 4, which I'm sure they will, then again I'm sure Todd Howard will give them a rundown again on what Obsidian may and may not write into the game, which lore shall not be expanded on. And also quickly I want to add that I think the obvious thing is build off of Fallout 4 and 76's combat, which was just right for a game like Fallout. You know, they'll make some changes I'm sure, whatever works best, but really just focus on the writing and making really interesting and fun and thought-provoking quests without any of the pandering. So I think the combat's already good enough, I don't think we need to waste too much time on that. Also, random idea I had, and now I'm really going off the rails. Make it so you can sneak kill, but frame it as an accident. Some Hitman Silent Assassin stuff. Drop an anvil on there or something. Slipped and fell on their own shears, that kind of stuff. But that's all I have for now. Obviously the game's not long been announced and we know very little other than the fact it is being made. Of course we'll learn more about this project as we get closer to its release, and I'll be providing updates when necessary, so stay tuned for those. Got more Fallout videos on the way, as well as potentially doing some reviews too, but we'll see for now. Alright, much love, catch you on the far side.